A new generation built to fight. Together, we are unstoppable. Are you ready? Now, show me what you can do.
Yeah, baby!
Hey people, Bao here. Today I want to talk about the Halo Infinite flight that we had this weekend, give you guys my perspective from a user that is meeting around the minimum requirements spec-wise at least, to give you guys a realistic view of how the game looks, how it feels, and what are essentially the negatives and positives if you were around these settings. Hopefully giving you guys a bit more insight on how the game currently looks and what we can kind of expect for future flights and eventually for the release of the game. So before we start about the negatives and positives, I'm gonna just introduce the specs that I have. So for the graphics card, we have a 1063 gig version. We have a CPU i7-4790, and for the RAM, we have 16 gigs of RAM DDR3. The average FPS experience, this was all on low settings, everything turned off low as it could be. We had the minimum FPS selector at 30 and the maximum at 60. Um, this resulted in an average FPS of 18 to 35, and the 18 especially only really during intense combat moments where you're literally face to face with the bot trying to maneuver around them. You know, asking a lot from the CPU to process the entire sudden movements going on. Whereas 35, it's just more whenever you're not in combat and you're looking at essentially the map. So however, after day 2 of the flight, we adjusted the settings a bit more. We turned the minimum FPS from 30 to 60, and this actually gave us quite the boost in the average FPS that we had. So we started from 18 to 35, but with this 60 minimum FPS, we got around 35 to 58 FPS. And you have to keep in mind, these numbers are including the fact that I'm recording at the same time. So these are pretty good. Obviously, you have to keep in mind it is on low settings. It's graphically not appealing, but for us, for the guys that are playing the game at minimum requirements, you're not really looking for the graphical appeal of the game. We're looking for the gunplay, we're looking for the FPS element of it. So that's essentially the setting that we have. I want to talk about the negatives first. So the first thing that was really odd was there was a really odd launch issue with the 1060 specifically. For some reason, the game didn't recognize a 1060 as a graphics card, essentially denying you access to the game because it couldn't find the GPU. This was luckily solved by a Reddit user that just instructed on how to solve it. I don't know the technical aspects on why this was a thing, but hopefully in the future flights and eventually the release of the game, we won't see this kind of situation. Second negative point, the default open mic in game. I do think this is comedical. I do think there were some moments during games where it was funny to hear the background noise that people had ongoing, but I personally do not prefer this as a default option. I hope that 343 can change this to just essentially closed or shut in-game microphones off, because for a lower end user trying to load into the game can take quite a bit, and during that moment and during the squad introduction scene, you cannot mute the player at all. That is causing a constant noise, and this can be from very annoying to bearable at minimum. So I hope to see that turned off immediately if they can, for default wise at least. Thirdly, the bots. The bots always go the same path in every match, all four sticking together. I personally didn't see any variation in this. They always went to the same location, causing players that know where they're going just literally go to the same location, throw nades, and try to get the quickest quad kill they can. Not a big issue, but I hope the thing that I hope here is that the bot movement, especially at the beginning, will get a bit more variety in the case of like where they start, how much they split up from each other. I hope to see more change in that if possible. Furthermore, graphical settings felt like they had no impact in regards of sacrificing graphics for FPS. I personally do not mind my game looking very close to Roblox, as long as I can actually enjoy the gunplay. I felt, besides the minimum FPS change, I didn't feel there were a lot of options to further optimize, technically speaking. Obviously, there might be options I've missed out on, but as far as from my knowledge and as far as I've seen the menu, I didn't really see much options. I hope maybe that get optimized further, and so that lower end users can try to sacrifice more and more graphics for that optimal FPS situation. Second last negative. I personally feel that the outlines around players, and this goes for both allies and hostiles, feel a little bit overkill. I feel like it really separates the Spartan from the map. They don't really blend in well whenever you have this thick red or blue line around them indicating where they are, which is good to stand out. However, I like it a bit more when it's all just one thing and not like a thick line layer separating the two. I hope that this can be disabled if possible. I might have missed the option. If I did, I do apologize, but I didn't see an option to do that. And last thing, please let the player select what map they wish to play. Every time the new map got added, with Recharge and Bazaar, I generally wanted to be able to just pick the map, be like, okay, I want to play this map now, and then I want to play this map. I hope in future flights we're allowed to pick what map we want to play, especially in regards of getting footage for it and comparing FPS. I hope that they do more with that. Alright, anyways, let's move on to the positives. I have a lot of positives that I want to mention, and overall, I'm very impressed with the flight. So, in regards to first impressions, I personally enjoyed the main menu and its UI. It was very solid. A lot of background for each section was very part of the Halo universe, and it just felt like they made sense. I liked whenever I was customizing my Spartan, and especially when looking for skins on my weapons and vehicles, looking like how they pop up in the background, giving me that vibe that it's all one system, which I really liked. Secondly, and this is a big, big, big plus and a surprise, the bots. They were showing a lot of human or player behavior, which I was so impressed with. Specifically, I'm talking about how their nade placement is. So many times have I been flushed out from my previous position by a perfect nade. It is absolutely insane how much these bots were a threat at times. I struggle a lot to 1v2 them on an open field. I had to be very defensive about it, and they were overall just really great to play against. I hope they're gonna use the bots a bit more, optimize their behavior a bit more, and eventually for the release of the game, see these bots, be 100% optimized. They were really good. I enjoyed them a lot. Gameplay, aka the guns and utilities. They felt amazing. My favorite was the commando rifle. The quick burst tap tap tap, 7-8 bullets needed to kill. I enjoyed that. The pistol was great. The gravity hammer felt so heavy to swing and so satisfying whenever you did hit your target. And the biggest surprise, or the biggest plus that I have in this section, is the grappling hook. I personally feel that the grappling hook is gonna have a lot of potential in both competitive and custom games, especially in custom games. I feel like for content creators or map creators specifically, they're gonna be able to use this utility to its maximum. It's such a fun tool, It feels like I'm a Spartan Spider-Man, and I hope that it gets more included with each map, because it gives that vertical ability throughout the map, making it more interesting for me overall. Beyond that, another positive, the maps were nice to play, especially Recharge with its vertical options. I feel like they made really good use of the grappling hook there, and especially just having a lot of options to latch onto platforms to move on to somewhere else. I felt like they were really good in that regards. And last positive that I have as well is that the AI voices and personalities were a nice addition. I enjoyed switching between the personalities, and every time I did something really good, used a certain weapon well, you know, their compliments or their responses to my performance were very nice in a sense for gameplay wise. I enjoyed it, it was really fun. That's essentially all I really got in regards of negatives and positives. Just to kind of conclude everything, once again, thank you Free for Free for allowing people to be invited through the Halo Insider program. It was a lot of fun to have this gameplay under my belt, and even though I don't want to hype up the game, because I like to see actual gameplay when it releases before I actually do anything with it, like buy the campaign, I do have more hope in regards of Halo Infinite and how it's gonna release. I hope they have taken their time. I hope they continue to optimize it more and more. I hope to be invited for future flights, because generally I got a good insight now. I got to know more about the game, and just overall I'm a very satisfied fan at the moment. Anyways, this was Bao. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got a bit more insight, especially if this is relevant to you. Whenever I see you guys next, thank you for watching. Have a very good day. Bye bye.